Hi, hi, and hi, hi, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've posted anything, but as Patrick Bateman says in American Psycho, I had to return some videotapes. Are videotapes still a thing? So in this video I'd like to talk about the books that I read in the past month in November. I've read 4 books this month, which is a bit above average. I mostly read 2-3 books in a month, but yeah, it's been quite an active month. So the first book I read in one sitting, and that was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Thank you, neighbor, for starting to trim your hedge now. It's like the 2nd of December. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I don't read that much young adult, but because this was compared to The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I thought I'd give it a go. One thing that really struck me, which I was surprised by, was the fact that somewhere like halfway the book, one of the characters says, you know, you're black and I'm Puerto Rican, which took me totally by surprise and actually confirmed the fact that, you know, every book that you read, you read by assuming it's about white people. I think I said something about me, how much I read in my own little circle, about how every character that I read is actually a white person. So, you know, this was definitely a wake-up call. I quite enjoyed the relationship between Thomas and Aaron, and I didn't see the plot twist near the end coming, so that's also a big plus. Yeah, quite enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read was Slade House by David Mitchell. This is actually an accompanying book to his latest novel, The Bone Clocks. When I finished this book, I thought that if you haven't read The Bone Clocks, you wouldn't really enjoy this one, but then a friend of mine picked this one up too, and she said that she also really enjoyed this one, although she hadn't read The Bone Clocks. Thus, yeah, there goes my opinion. Some people have said that this was quite a scary read. I get where they're coming from, but I didn't find it that scary. Of course, it's about people getting murdered and a bit of magical realism and dark alleyways and such things. But you know, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I didn't feel scared at all. So you know, maybe you will. The third book that I read was Woesten, which is a Flemish book, and I read that one on my cell phone actually, because in Flanders we have now a library app that is active until the end of January, I think. During October we had a chance to vote for our favorite Dutch book, and they chose the 15 books that were most voted on and put them in an app, and everybody who downloads that app can read those 15 books for free. So I decided to read one, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it was one of my favorite reads this year, mostly because it takes place in one of my favorite time periods, just before the First World War here in Flanders, you know, around the 1900s. And it's about a twin that gets born, but one of them is a normal baby and grows up to be beautiful, but the other one is so deformed that the father doesn't even decide to give it a name. And then we see how that baby who everybody names no name grows up and plays a part in different people's lives before and during and after the First World War. So it was actually quite a good read. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that it gets translated into English one day. I think that a lot of you would really enjoy that one. Okay. The fourth book that I read was actually one that I already started in October, but then put aside because I wasn't really that into it. Then in November I picked it back up and really got into its stride. The book that I'm talking about is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I found it quite interesting because it's about a Chinese-American family in the 1970s who live in an American town and are actually the only immigrant people who are living there, and it's about the scrutiny, about the harassment, they have to endure every day, but the main story is about how one of their how the eldest daughter in the family disappears one day, and everybody has their own ideas about how it happened and who did it. And yeah, it's definitely worth a read if you want to expand your horizons, I think. And also it's a whodunit, but actually it's more a why done it. So if you're into that kind of thing, I definitely recommend it. And then the final book that I read was actually one of the worst books that I've read this year, and that's The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I've started this book multiple times. I had to put it away every time, and now I finally finished it, and I have to say I don't get it why this is considered an American classic. Well, I do get it, and I understand why a lot of people love this book, but to me, it's just about an intolerant teenager who thinks everything is phony and everything is like whatever. And I think when this was written in the 1950s or 60s, this might have been a voice that wasn't yet put down on paper, but reading this now is just, reading those Facebook statuses about how life is just so ridiculous and so boring. It just really wasn't for me. I've got some friends who really enjoyed this book, so I'll just give my copy to them, I think, because, no, definitely not my thing. So those were the those were the 5 books that I've read this month. I hope to finish a couple of more in December, but, with the holidays coming up, it's gonna be quite busy, but you never know. I've bought a manual for cleaning women the other day, so I think I'll dip in and out of that one when I've got a couple of moments. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.